this is like the heat. This is the thick of it. We talked about last show. Like this week, the next couple of weeks, it's dynasty trade extravaganza, right? Like this is where you're going to see tons of trades, draft picks going out the door, people going for those ships. I mean, if you had Cooper Kupp, more likely than not, you're a contender, right? And now the Moscow Mule is put back on the shelf. He's not coming back, folks. Like he's out. Like probably 6 weeks, most likely the year, because the Rams will probably be out of it at that point. They lost 2 more offensive linemen. That offensive line is in shambles. They have no running game whatsoever. Even though they got Kyron Williams back, it won't be a fair look at him. Even though it'd probably be safer to dump it off in the passing game, obviously it's a boost for Ben Skowronek. Obviously it's a boost for Van Jefferson. Allen Robinson could probably be the number 1, but the offensive line is so bad. The Rams are probably going to have a top 12 pick, which isn't even their pick, but that's what it's probably going to be. So the odds of Cooper Kupp even coming back to help you are slim to none. And when he did come back, it'd be on like a light workload. So Cooper Kupp is done. So if you have Cooper Kupp and you're in the thick of it, guess what you're going to do? You thought you were good, but now your team's a contender. You got to go out and give up your 23 first for a player. You got to give up assets that you normally wouldn't want to give up to be a contender, because that's what you should do as a contender, right? Just because you lose a player doesn't mean you're like, this is it. I guess I'm not going to go win a championship. Hell no. Double down. Go get that ship. Listen, I'm only saying this because I've been saying it for 9 years, and I haven't said it lately, I don't think, Garrett, is we play this game for one reason and one reason only. It's not to have the best looking team on paper. It's not to have all these draft picks. Yes, if you're in rebuild, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to be reloading with those draft picks. But if you're any time in a window, if you have any time opportunity at all to win a championship, you seize that moment and you go get that championship. It doesn't matter how strong your team looks out on paper down the road. It doesn't matter how many draft picks you have, or you can't give up your late 23 first or your late 23 first, second, and 24 second. Yes, you can. Those are just imaginary assets that do not exist yet on your roster. If you have a championship in front of you, you go and get it. It will always be the utmost important thing that you do for your team, and that's to put in the best position to win a Dynasty Fantasy Football Championship, because those windows are small and they're hard to come by, and you have no idea what your team's going to look like next year. You have no idea what those players are going to do performance-wise, and you have no idea if they're going to be healthy then as well. You have to go get those ships. It's literally all that matters. People will be talking about trading this. Youth is this. You can't give up this. And I'm not saying go out there and just overpay crazy and get taken advantage of.
Right.
I'm not saying that. But you can find amongst your league mates, amongst 11 other players, 9 other players, 13 other players, a fair trade that might be a slightly overpay. And sometimes what seems like an overpay today is an underpay tomorrow. And again, if you end up with that championship, it does not matter. We play to win the game. That's what's most important. Nobody cares about second place. Nobody cares about how many draft picks you have. Nobody cares that your team went 12-0 or 15-0 in the regular season, and you lost in the championship game because your 2 running backs were hurt, and you didn't give up a first-round pick, or I'm sorry, a second-round pick and a third-round pick for David Montgomery, who's now the clear bona fide starter and get all the snaps in Chicago. Or he's just a one-year guy, or he's 32 years old. It does not matter. Go get that championship. And unfortunately, if you are a contender and you just lost Cooper Kupp, that's probably the position you're in, right? Like your whole situation has now changed because you lost a guy who was averaging about 22 points per game. That was one of the best fantasy receivers in the game as it is right now. And that's going to be really hard to replace, right? But you got to find some way to include those points from another area. It's probably going to be from a team that's not ready to compete.
Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast.